building seamlessly upon the foundational chaos introduced in the opening moments of this episode of One Day at a Time. The narrative delves deeper into the domestic rhythms of the Romano household through the central comedic device of ironing David Kane's laundry. This seemingly simple task serves as far more than mere household drudgery. It becomes a rich canvas upon which the writers paint a vivid portrait of negotiation, affection, resentment, and the everyday power dynamics within a non-traditional family unit in the 1970s. The scene opens with Julie's vocal displeasure at having to iron, particularly David's clothes. Her complaint, "It is bad enough doing my own ironing, but it is gross doing David's," captures the authentic teenage perspective of the era where chores were not only burdensome but also carried the sting of performing them for someone outside the immediate nuclear family. Anne's response, revealing that she lost a bet with David, immediately injects playful energy into the proceedings. The revelation of the bet itself is a masterstroke of light comedy. David's demonstration of his finger trick, asking how many fingers one sees and cleverly manipulating perception, showcases the charming boyish quality that makes him both endearing and occasionally exasperating to Anne. This sequence exemplifies the show's brilliance in transforming mundane activities into opportunities for character development and humor. Ironing, a quintessential domestic chore traditionally associated with the dutiful housewife of previous decades, is here recontextualized within the life of a divorced working mother. Anne is not ironing out of marital obligation but because of a lost wager in a relationship that exists in that ambiguous space between friendship and romance. The 1970s marked a period when women like Anne were increasingly rejecting rigid gender roles, yet the practical realities of life, laundry, meals, childcare, remained inescapable. The script handles this tension with remarkable sensitivity, allowing the comedy to emerge naturally from Anne's resigned acceptance of the task while highlighting her daughter's resistance to it. Julie's protestations and Barbara's cheeky interjections create a lively overlapping dialogue that feels genuinely lived in. When Barbara suggests that Julie would finish the ironing faster if she would just iron with her mouth, the line lands with perfect sarcastic timing, revealing the younger sister's sharp wit and the playful sibling rivalry that provides much of the show's emotional texture. Anne's attempts to maintain order, directing Julie to do her homework and Barbara to help with dishes, illustrate her role as the weary but determined matriarch trying to hold the household together amid constant distractions. The arrival of David himself elevates the scene further. His casual inquiry about the laundry, followed by his triumphant collection of the shirts, underscores the comfortable yet complicated nature of his relationship with Anne. The family banter reaches its peak as the girls tease their mother about playing David correctly, with Julie drawing parallels to her own manipulative tactics with boys. Anne's firm insistence that she is not playing games with David reveals her desire for authenticity in her post-divorce romantic life. This moment carries deeper thematic weight. In the cultural landscape of the 1970s, many divorced women were cautiously exploring new relationships while wary of repeating patterns of dependency from their marriages. Anne's stance that David understands her need for space and emotional independence reflects the evolving conversations around partnership during this transformative decade. The writers demonstrate exceptional skill in weaving multiple layers into this domestic sequence. On one level, it is pure situational comedy rooted in the absurdity of the bet and the reluctant ironing. On another, it offers insightful commentary on the blurred lines between romance and domestic service. David's playful charm contrasts with Anne's more measured approach to their relationship, creating a dynamic that feels both romantic and realistically complicated. The dialogue crackles with natural rhythm, the interruptions, the overlapping voices, and the perfectly timed punchlines all contribute to an authentic sense of family life that distinguished One Day at a Time from more formulaic sitcoms of the period. Historical context enriches this appreciation. The 1970s witnessed significant changes in American family structures. Divorce rates were climbing, women were entering the workforce in greater numbers, and traditional notions of household labor were being questioned. By centering an episode around the simple act of ironing a man's shirts after a lost bet, the show subtly comments on these shifts. Anne is not defined solely by her domestic labor, rather, she performs it within the context of her broader life as a working mother seeking personal fulfillment. The humor arises precisely because the audience recognizes both the ordinariness of the task and its symbolic weight in a changing society. Furthermore, the scene deepens our understanding of the daughter's characters. Julie's rebellious spirit and desire for independence are already evident in her complaints and her bold declaration about living with a man who irons. Barbara meanwhile provides comic relief and sharp observations that often cut to the heart of family matters. Their interactions with Anne reveal a mother who is willing to engage in honest dialogue rather than impose authoritarian rule. A progressive parenting approach for the time that resonated with many viewers navigating similar generational divides. As David prepares to leave with his partially completed laundry, promising to return for the rest, and even drop off more for Julie the following week, the scene masterfully sets up future complications. The casual domesticity of the moment belies the emotional undercurrents that will soon surface regarding his relationship with Danny Barnes. The writers plant these seeds with admirable subtlety, allowing the audience to enjoy the surface-level banter while sensing deeper relational tensions brewing beneath. In terms of performance and writing craft, this section shines through its attention to realistic dialogue patterns. The rapid-fire exchanges, the overlapping conversations and the way characters talk over one another create a verisimilitude that makes the Romano apartment feel like a genuine home rather than a staged set. The comedic timing, inherent in the script, particularly in David's magic trick and the girls' teasing, would have played beautifully before a studio audience, eliciting the warm appreciative laughter that was the lifeblood of 1970s multi-camera sitcoms. The ironing sequence ultimately serves as both a comedic anchor and a thematic foundation for the episode. It encapsulates the reluctant realities of single motherhood, the constant negotiation of responsibilities, the blending of romantic interests into family life, and the persistent domestic labor that persists even as women sought greater independence. Through gentle humor and sharp character observation, the script celebrates the resilience required to navigate these challenges while finding joy in the small, messy moments of everyday life. This part of the episode beautifully balances levity with emotional honesty. It reminds us that even in the midst of ironing shirts and losing bets, profound statements are being made about love, family independence, and the evolving definitions of partnership in 1970s America. The domestic banter is not filler, but the very heart of the show's appeal, relatable, warm, and profoundly human.